Coming up, Kakao experienced major service malfunctions over the weekend due to a data center fire. Following the tech disruption, the National Security Office has announced plans to create a cybersecurity task force. Ukraine says Russia attacked Kyiv during rush hour with self-destructing drones. The Ukrainian military says it stopped 85 to 86% of all drones fired toward the capital. Plus, BTS will soon be starting their mandatory military service. The oldest member, Jin, will be the first to go, possibly before the end of this year. Good morning. Welcome to New Day at Arirang. We begin with a follow-up on the disruption to Kakao services that occurred over the weekend. Ranging from messaging to online shopping users were met with major inconveniences throughout the weekend. And now, there are growing calls for institutional changes to prevent this kind of digital shutdown from happening again. Our Lee Young-eun starts us off.
People in South Korea use Kakao Talk to send messages, Kakao Tea to hail taxis, and Kakao Pay to buy coffee. Kakao affects many aspects of people's lives with more than 130 affiliated businesses. But a fire at a data center near Seoul on Saturday at around 3 p.m. disrupted Kakao's key services until 6 a.m. Monday, when most of them were finally recovered. The impact was far wider than the electrical room that was actually affected because the entire power was cut off for safety reasons. And the result was what some refer to as a nationwide digital shutdown. It disrupted the messaging app that 9 out of 10 people in South Korea uses, and the transportation with Kakao's taxi hailing service dominating 90% of the market. The mobile payment Kakao Pay, video and music streaming, shopping, and even government services were also affected. Many experts blame Kakao's heavy reliance on a single data center run by SKCNC where the fire broke out. The facility also houses data center for another domestic tech giant, Naver. But Naver runs a separate main data center on its own and was able to recover its services in just a few hours. Shortly after the accident, the presidential office stressed how serious the situation was.
Disruptions to digital network not only cause massive damage to people, but it could also threaten our national security.
President Yoon Suk-yeol ordered the Science and ICT Minister to be in charge of the issue. And the ministry has been handling the incident as a disaster, sending public emergency texts with the latest updates like it does for COVID-19. Aside from the immediate response, President Yoon called for institutional level changes.
제도를 잘 정비해서 이런 사고를 미연에 방지하고 또 사고가 발생했을 때 즉각적인 보고 체계와 국민들에 대해서 안내하는 것, 그리고 신속한 복구가 이루어질 수 있도록.
In related efforts, lawmakers are likely to discuss reintroducing a bill designating data centers as state disaster management facilities, something that had been protested by IT companies. This will make them subject to government safety inspections. In the meantime, the Parliamentary Science and ICT Committee will summon the founders of Kakao and Naver, Kim Bum-soo and Lee Hae-jin, as well as SK Group Chairman Choi Tae-won next Monday. Lee Young-eun, Arirang News.
Now, building on from that, the National Security Office is creating a cybersecurity task force in response to the Kakao fiasco. This was reported to President Yoon during Monday's weekly meeting with senior secretaries.
High-ranking officials will be attending the meeting to monitor cybersecurity, including those from the Ministry of Science and ICT, the Ministry of Defense, the National Intelligence Service, the Supreme Prosecutor's Office, the National Police Agency, and the Defense Security Support Command.
The session will be presided by National Security Advisor Kim Sung-han. Earlier in the day, President Yoon vowed to ensure a system overhaul, adding that people perceive Kakao as a state infrastructure. He also signaled a need for the government to step in when there's monopoly, especially for services that are deemed state infrastructure. The number of new confirmed COVID-19 cases jumped to over 30,000 in South Korea as of 9 p.m. Monday. This is nearly 21,000 more cases than the day before and a twofold increase from a week ago. Some 60% of the new cases were concentrated in the greater Seoul area. Against this backdrop, Korea's health authorities are warning of a possible virus resurgence in early December. They also urge the vulnerable populations to get their COVID-19 booster shots. Ukraine's capital city, as well as other regions of the country, were targeted as attacks against the country continue. Russia fired dozens of drones at a number of cities during morning rush hour on Monday, killing at least 8 people. Our Kim Yo-sun has the latest.
Loud explosions were heard and thick clouds of smoke rose from the streets of Ukraine's capital city on Monday, following Russia's launch of a series of drone attacks. Local authorities said that 4 separate explosions took place, leaving at least 1 building in the city center suffering minor damage. Reports say at least 4 people were killed, including a couple expecting a baby. Another deadly strike took place in the northeastern part of the country, where 4 others were killed. Ukrainian police opened fire to bring down the drones. The country's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, said in a video address that his country shut down and destroyed over 80% of the drones involved in the attacks.
We managed to shoot down a number of missiles and drones. In only 12 hours, since Sunday 9 p.m., we have destroyed 37 Iranian Shahed drones and some cruise missiles.
Ukrainian authorities said that the attacks were carried out by, quote, suicide drones made by Iran, which fly to their target and explode. They also accused Tehran of being responsible for the, quote, murders of Ukrainians. Russia's defense ministry said it had carried out a, quote, massive attack on military targets and energy infrastructure across Ukraine using high-precision weapons. Drones have played a significant role in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which began late February. And their use has increased since Moscow reportedly acquired new drones from Iran over the summer. Kim Yo-sun, Arirang News.
Japan's prime minister sent a ritual offering to the Yasukuni shrine, a gesture considered highly offensive to neighbors South Korea and China, where it's seen as paying tribute to war criminals. Kyodo News reports Fumio Kishida sent a ceremonial masakaki tree to mark the beginning of the venue's autumn festival, but he is unlikely to visit the controversial location in person. Seoul's foreign ministry expressed deep disappointment and regret, calling on Tokyo to face up to history and sincerely reflect the past. The Yasukuni Shrine honors Japanese war dead, including 14 Class A war criminals and from World War II. K-pop supergroup BTS has made it official that all 7 members plan to go to the military to fulfill their mandatory service. The first one to go is Jin. The latest decision puts an end to years of debate over a possible exemption for the group. Our Shin Se-byuk reports.
K-pop sensation BTS will not be able to perform with its full 7-member lineup for the next few years, as members of the supergroup are set to undertake military service. The oldest member, Jin, aged 29, will be first. According to the band's management group, HYBE, Jin plans to start his service as early as December. The others will follow suit in the coming years. In South Korea, all able-bodied men must serve in the army for around 2 years by the time they are 28 years old. However, the 7 members do have the opportunity to put off starting their military service. In 2020, South Korea's parliament passed a bill allowing K-pop stars, namely those who excel in popular culture and art, to defer their duties until the age of 30. The issue has not been without controversy, though, with heated debates on whether to exempt the band completely. With the boy band's huge success on the global stage, some lawmakers suggested granting an exemption so they could keep performing. The move has some precedent with a number of globally recognized prominent athletes like Olympic medalists and artists being given dispensation. However, that has not yet been the case for pop culture figures. The latest announcement ends years of debates. Jin, who will turn 30 this December, has already canceled his request for a deferment. Following their service commitment, BTS is expected to reconvene as a group again around 2025. A few months ago, however, South Korea's defense minister hinted at the possibility of the group being able to perform while enlisted, saying there would be a way to give them a chance to practice and perform together. Unless that happens, we can expect a quite few years from the K-pop superstars. 신새벽 아리랑 뉴스.
An electrifying show from Buenos Aires has returned this fall. Fuerza Bruta expresses the emotions that people experience through non-verbal performances. Our issue provides a sneak peek.
A man runs against blowing wind and confetti, and then obstacles continue to come his way, but he overcomes them one by one. In another scene, women jump and tumble across drapes of silk as if there is no gravity. These performances are part of Fuerza Bruta, a theatrical show originating from Argentina that has returned to Seoul this fall. In Fuerza Bruta, which means brutal force in Spanish, a 13-member troupe of actors and actresses convey the sadness, agony, joy, and triumph of people today without words and only through their movements and expressions. The so-called 360 degrees show has no set stage. Instead, it uses all the space within the performance hall, including the ceiling and the walls. It even goes as far as to create its own special kind of stage. Above the heads of the audience is a watery glass ceiling on which the performers slide and jump around. Even the splashing water serves to channel the emotions of the cast. These unconventional attempts encourage the audience to actively interact with the show's performers, together completing the act. The actors also explain that interaction is an important part of the show.
You can be this performer. You are not alien, you know? And that is a celebration for the whole family, and it's a big party.
The members of the audience say they appreciate the opportunity to take part in the performance.
It was great to be able to participate in the show, and watching the performance right up close was very refreshing.
It was much more fun than I had expected, and it was stress relieving. I also got to see sides of my friend I had not seen before.
After the show, the performers mingle with the audience. The high-flying and electrifying performance runs until the end of the year. 이시후, 아리랑 뉴스.
Festival Internacional Cervantino, excuse my Spanish, is known to many as the biggest global festival in the Spanish world. This year, according to host Guanajuato City, the 12-day festival is expected to attract around 500,000 people. Many countries are participating to showcase their cultures there, and South Korea is among them. And 6 days into the festival, South Korea Pavilion seems to be a massive hit, with long lines to enter and reservation spots filling up quickly each day. So to learn more about Korea's Pavilion, let's connect with Namgung Youngjun, a senior manager for the Global Business Division at Korea Creative Contents Agency. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, South Korea's exhibition at the festival has certainly been very popular, according to reports. Could you explain to us what the visitors are finding so appealing, and perhaps give us some flavor of the excitement present at the spot?
Festival International Cervantino at Guanajuato, Mexico, where this exhibition is being held, is one of the 3 biggest cultural art festivals in the world. Following the name of cultural art festival, the festival is mostly consisted of performances like plays, music, and classical music. Our exhibition is a realistic contents exhibition, which is very different from the contents from previous festivals. It probably will be the first time that the various Korean culture, such as K-pop, movies, cultural heritage, and media art are exhibited with realistic content, which resulted in receiving a great interest from the festival officials and the visitors. When it comes to success, I think the power of contents is the biggest factor. The purpose of this Korea Realistic Contents Experience exhibition is to promote the new Hallyu to the world by combining Hallyu contents and cultural technology. So what kind of content to show was the most important thing? A total of 18 contents were exhibited in this exhibition, and among them, contents such as BTS and the movie Parasite were already loved in Mexico. So I think that was one of the biggest factors in the success. In addition to BTS and Parasite, the district's waterfall has become a content symbolizing the scale of the entire exhibition, whole with 9 high content. And a wide variety of content such as Korean cultural heritage, beautiful nature, Korean folk tales, tourism content, and exhibition of works by Korean media artists, including Junhyuk Gu, which seems to be the great factor in capturing the hearts of the visitors.
Right, and you've been part of this preparation process throughout. So did you know that the exhibition was going to be popular among the fans or the visitors at the festival?
I kind of expected it, as I said it earlier, that there was no exhibition like ours in the 15-year history of this festival. And because there were big name contents such as BTS and Parasite, we were able to predict the popularity to some extent. But the local response was hotter than we expected, so we were a little surprised. Especially on the 12th, the opening day of exhibition, Alejandra Prosto Guerroque, the Minister of Culture of Mexico, visited without an appointment and watched all the contents for 40 minutes. She loved the exhibition so much that she gave her opinion of willing to bring this exhibition at Mexico City as well. Our Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism, Park Bo-gyun, who visited Guanajuato for the official event of the festival, also gave a lot of good comments about our exhibition. We received a lot of praise, even being specially mentioned at the official opening ceremony of the festival. The exhibition continues until October 3rd, with still more than 10 days left. We expect that there will be more issues that can maintain the contents exchanging between Korea and Mexico for the rest of the period.
Right, and there's many people that won't be able to make to Guanajuato City until October 30th. So are there any plans in the future for a similar exhibition like this throughout the world?
Korea Realist Contents Experience exhibition project has been carried out in 3 rounds so far. The first was the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. The second was Hong Kong and Moscow. And the third was New York and Washington. The first round of Korea Realist Contents Experience exhibition project will be held in 2 locations in Latin America and the Middle East. Mexico is currently being held for Latin America, and the Middle East will be United Arab Emirates. Mexico is being held at the same time as Festival International Cervantino in Guanajuato from October 12th to 3rd. And United Arab Emirates will be held in Dubai at the similar timing with the World Cup 2022 at Qatar from November 16th to 3rd. Especially Dubai, which will be held next month, will accommodate general visitors, but also aiming at laying the groundwork for Korean content companies to spread out to overseas by focusing on B2B. We are preparing for the exhibition to meet the great interest we are receiving. Thank you very much.
Right. So we're all excited, and for the fans around the world, if they can catch one of the shows at the locations, that'll be great. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
For a look at the news from around the world, we now turn to our Matthew Ashley, standing by at the Arirang newsroom. Good morning.
Good morning, Doyon.
Now let's start in the UK, where pro-democracy Hong Kong protester was reportedly beaten at a Chinese consulate.
Well, that's right, Doyon. Footage shows the protester being kicked and punched within the Chinese consulate grounds after being dragged inside by unknown men. Now, the protester managed to escape with assistance from fellow protesters and a local policeman who entered the compound to pull him out. The incident occurred on Sunday during a pro-democracy protest held in front of the Chinese consulate in Manchester. The victim said he was pulled into the grounds by people he called Chinese mainlanders after trying to stop them from destroying demonstration posters. The demonstration opposed President Xi Jinping and coincided with the first day of the Congress of China's ruling Communist Party in Beijing. The UK's Home Office and police will decide what actions to take, as consulate employees are covered by UK law despite their diplomatic immunity. At least 6 people have been killed, another 6 are missing, and 19 were injured after a Russian military jet crashed into a residential tower block. Now, the plane hit the 9-story building in the Russian town of Yeysk on Monday night, local time. The crash took place shortly after the Sukhoi Su-34 fighter bomber took off for a training flight from a nearby military airfield. Russia's defense ministry said the pilots operating the plane reported an engine fire before ejecting to safety. Moscow has since launched a criminal investigation into the incident, while Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered assistance for all victims of the crash. And in our final story, for the first time in his career, 34-year-old Real Madrid striker Karim Benzema has won the men's Ballon d'Or. The award is given to the best footballer of the year. Benzema scored 44 goals in 46 games last year as he helped Real Madrid win La Liga and the Champions League. Meanwhile, Barcelona captain Alexia Putellas was named the top female footballer in the world for the 2nd year in a row. Putellas scored 18 goals in La Liga as she helped her team win the Spanish title. South Korea's Son Heung-min came 11th in the men's ranking, the highest place of any Asian male footballer.
Good morning. The season's first cold advisory has been issued across Korea this morning as low temperatures are 5 to 10 degrees lower than the same time yesterday. Well, last year, the season's first cold advisory was issued on October 16th, which was the earliest since 2004. So this year's cold alert came earlier than usual as well. Do bundle up. It's going to stay chilly all day with highs to go down 1 to 5 degrees lower than yesterday, hovering way below season norms in most parts of the country. Colder than average temperatures to persist through Thursday morning, so take well care of yourself so as not to catch a cold. Sunny skies won't do much to ease the chill in the air. Meanwhile, those in inland and mountainous regions will need to look after crops that could be affected by early frost and ice. So this afternoon, Seoul will be topping out at 14 degrees Celsius. Daejeon, Gwangju, Chuncheon going up to 15 degrees Celsius. Stay warm today. With that, here's a look at the weather conditions around the globe.
And that wraps up today's New Day at Arirang. We'll be back tomorrow for our Wednesday's edition at the same time. Please stay with Arirang News, though, for more updates throughout the day. Have a lovely day or evening wherever you are, and take care.